Befehl lautet, sie nach Washington zu bringen, wo man Ihnen und Ihrem Team das Bombenattentat anhängen wird. Es sei denn, Ihnen gelingt es, Brent und mich zu überwältigen und zu fliehen.
So, can you channel your 14-year-old self and tell me about the movie like you would have done to your friends at 14?
Do I have to do the voice? Hey, yeah, you know.
to get them excited.
Yeah. I would say that it's a popcorn movie, that there's a lot of adrenaline to it. I think it's the biggest Mission Impossible that's been done in terms of the scale of it.
Oh, well, it's amazing because there's all these amazing explosions and someone hangs off a building.
This movie is an incredible ride. The moment you sit down, you can't take your eyes off the screen. You don't want to go to the bathroom. It takes you from sewers to ballrooms to intrigue to action and thrills to romance a little bit.
This film is just so full of cool stuff, you know, it's kind of from start to finish. It starts with a bang and it ends with a bang.
Vor einer Stunde ist im Kreml eine Bombe hochgegangen.
Did you grow up on the original series like me?
I did, yeah. I remember it very clearly, and also, you know, I love the fact that this film very much embraces the old ethos of the series, which is to not take itself too seriously. You know, you're dealing with something which is very far-fetched, and the idea is to have fun with it rather than be po-faced.
The story is really about the team on this one. The stories are different in all the films, and in this one, it's about how Tom's character reacts to the team. The villain is important in this one, but the movie isn't really about the villain. It's about what a bunch of people do when they're kind of forced together and then have to learn how to survive and work together.
And what about your role? What is your character?
I play the character of Jane Carter, and she's a very interesting woman. She's very fierce. She's a person to contend with, and yet she's also vulnerable and quite feminine. You know, when you meet her, she's experienced a great loss and then a failure, and she has to right these wrongs.
I felt that it's way more over the top in a good way than the movies before, and also that it went back to the team, really putting the emphasis on the team, because what I really liked about the old series was there was the special guys for those. Everybody had a special ability, and he was the mask guy, he was the tech guy.
Yeah, I like the fact the film is kind of about a dysfunctional family. Really, it's about four people trying to work together who aren't necessarily, you know, aren't necessarily suited to do so at first. I think the thing with the IMF is that the team leader will choose his or her team, and they'll pick people, you know, in accordance with their special skills. Whereas with this team, we're just thrown together through chance and have no choice but to work together. So that whole thing, that dynamic, I felt was very different and lots of fun.
Merkt ihr blaues Licht, dann fällst du nicht.
Und was heißt rot?
Tot.
Tom was really wanting to make it a little bit different. Every mission has a different sort of feel to it because of the director and Tom's sort of vision to not have him feel like a sequel, just to have it be a separate entity unto its own. And then this one, there's a big emphasis on the team, on all the character and the development, which creates lots of fun tension and even some humor.
I really like that this one had a lot of gadgets in it, but you seem to have a bit of an attitude about them because they don't really work in the way it's supposed to be.
It's a little more like the real world, you know. I don't know anyone who hasn't struggled with technology, and so our characters do in this film a little bit.
And I have to ask about any news on Blood and Ice Cream Worlds End.
Well, we're just trying to. We hope to start working it very, very soon. We've written a draft and are now, you know, working on getting the second draft ready, and we'll go into production as soon as is humanly possible.
What will it be like thematically? Will it be even bigger?
I think it will be the answer to the equation: Shaun of the Dead times Hot Fuzz equals World's End.
Can you tell me a little bit about 1906?
Well, that's the project I was working on after Ratatouille, and I was working on it, and I suddenly looked up, and a couple of years had gone by, and I was still working on it, and I didn't want to just plan to make a movie. I wanted to make a movie, so that's when I got involved with Mission Impossible. But I have a writer who's still working on the film while I was doing Mission Impossible, and if we can solve the story challenges the project has, it could be next. I don't know.
In Mission Impossible, you're, at least from the clips, you don't seem to be the toughest guy, because that's Tom Cruise. But in Hänsel and Gretel Witch Hunter, you really get into the action. Can you tell us about that movie and the approach to the old fairy tale?
Yeah, it takes the fairy tale of Hänsel and Gretel, where we last see them. I mean, by the way, fairy tales aren't really nice endings. The ending to Hänsel and Gretel is they were left in the forest to die. They get lost. They find this candy house. They eat it, which lures them in because the witch wants to eat them. They end up killing the witch. It's over. That's the end of the fairy tale. It's not the happiest of stories. So we take that fairy tale 15, 18, whatever years later, and they have ill feelings towards witches, so they become bounty hunters to kill witches. And they've continued to do that, going from town to town to save the town from witches. And it has a sort of, it has a lot of fun in it. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's a really fun ride. It has a lot of great action and some gore and language and things. It's rated R.
That is good.
Yeah. So it's pretty intense, but it's always fun.
And the trailer certainly had some what the fuck moments in it.
Exactly.
Okay.
We always like to ask, do you have favorites? If you have had any movie for the rest of your existence?
I have many favorite movies, but I have movies that were really impactful to me in my life, and so they're going to be odd to you, but there's a movie, Pelé the Conqueror, Clockwork Orange, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, The Magnificent Seven, Born on the 4th of July. I just watched recently, and I absolutely adored it, Jane Eyre with Michael Fassbender and Mia Wachowski. God, there's so many.
Do you have a guilty pleasure?
Pulp Fiction.
Like a movie you're not supposed to like, but you do
Oh, yes.
kind of like anyway?
Pretty Woman. That's my guilty pleasure. Always happy to watch that on television.
I'm not really big on favorites. I mean, geez, there's such a vast taste in music and cinema. But, I like Clockwork Orange. I like Braveheart. I've seen 30 times. I've seen actually Brad Bird's Incredibles probably about 30 times. For an animated picture, Jungle Book is another animated one that brings back phenomenal memories because the music is so great in that.
Well, the problem with these kind of things is that the word where you say a few. If you had a long show, I could tell you many of them.
Like three for the...
Three, I'll just, what the hell, okay. Dr. Strangelove. I love Dr. Strangelove. I think it's a really dark and funny movie that's very smart and also very absurd. I love Lawrence of Arabia, just the sweep of it, particularly if you see it on a really big screen and you see it in 70 millimeter. I just think it's a great way to spend some time. And there are small comedies like Duck Soup, directed by Leo McCarey, that's just one of the great absurd comedies. Die Hard is a great action movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark, on and on and on and on.
The list goes ever on.
There's so many great films there.
Duck Soup is a cool choice.
Yeah, Duck Soup, man.
Duck Soup is really...
It rocks.
I love the Marx Brothers.
Me too, and that's their best film.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably Raising Arizona, the Coen Brothers film. Dawn of the Dead, Romero's 78 version. And probably The Empire Strikes Back, just as a piece of spectacle cinema. It's my favorite of the Star Wars, or the original version, not the tampered with version.